So this time from the Marvel Legends 2012 Wave 2, we're taking a look at the Build-A-Figure, which is supposed to be Arnim Zola. And I have a real contention with Hasbro about this. Maybe it's just me, maybe I missed something, maybe I misread something when I first heard about these figures. But we'll get into that later. First, we're going to go through the figures that the pieces came with. The left arm came with the Dark Wolverine figures, which had a variant that came with the same piece. The head came with the Wrecking Crew member, either the red one, which came with Pile Driver, or the yellow one, with the yellow lighted one came with Thunderball, which I don't have yet, but eventually will, hopefully. The right leg came with the Bucky Captain America. The left leg came with Drax. The right arm came with Phantom X. And the torso, the regular torso came with Madame Mask. And the Red Skull variant torso came with Madame Hydra. And here's where my contention lies. When I first read about these, I heard that the pieces, the face pieces here, would pretty much be interchangeable. So if you got one of the things and you got another figure, you can either go ahead and buy more figures to get two complete ones, or you can have one and just switch out the heads and the chest pieces for the other character. The Red Skull. And maybe it's just me, I have not figured a way out to switch out these pieces, these chest pieces, so that I can have a full Arnim Zola. So I'm going to have to resort to either buying figures again, which would mean 4 more figures. Actually 5, but I was already getting the 5th one because that's the Thunderball, which I would need anyway, and that would come with the yellow colored eye piece on the box on the head there. That kind of really ticked me off when I assembled my figures for the first time. I did it with the Red Skull piece as the chest because I didn't have the Arnim Zola piece yet. So I'm stuck pretty much with the Red Skull Arnim Zola, which is not really Arnim Zola, it is the Red Skull, which is alright, but I wanted the ability to switch them out, and now I'm forced to buy or find other pieces to build a completely different Arnim Zola. Yeah, I just wish I would have found that out before I went ahead and put together the Build-A-Figure pieces. There's not much to this character since it is the Red Skull, and I don't have a Red Skull individual figure that's the true Red Skull, so I won't go too much into the history of the information on the Red Skull. I'd like to save it for a version of that character that is more iconic, rather than just this version that was only around for a couple of issues. But I will go briefly into this why the Red Skull is in a Baron Zemo body, the android body. Now, this happens in Captain America Volume 5, which is the most recent volume, number 42. And the Red Skull was assassinated by the Winter Soldier on the order of this ex-KGB and currently semi-legitimate businessman slash crime boss by the name of Alexander Lukin, who had control over the Winter Soldier project. So Lukin wanted to get his hands on this new cosmic cube that the Skull was making, and Lukin eventually touches the cube, but what he doesn't know, and nothing happens, but what he doesn't know is that the Skull had actually, it was not quite fully working, but it was working enough in order for the Skull to transfer his consciousness into the cube. So when Lukin touches the cube, the Skull transfers his consciousness into Lukin. So they now share a body. Now eventually Lukin is shot by Sharon Carter, and this Red Skull's mind is transferred into an extra android body of Arnim Zola's, because years ago Zola initiated the Red Skull into the same process that allowed him to transfer his mind into android bodies, and actually gave the Red Skull a body cloned from Steve Rogers, and which caused all sorts of problems. One of my favorite Mark Gruenwald storylines that ran for 3-4 years. So anyway, getting into the figure itself, I think it's a great figure. Some people are upset about how it's not an actual sculpt on here, but it's not really supposed to have any physical features. It's a television screen or a computer screen of the person's face, and that shows limited emotions, or would show what people are, their mouth opening, or at least I imagine so. So it'd be looking like a TV screen in the middle of the stomach, and instead of an actual sculpted face there. I don't think some people get that. But I really like the design of it. It's very Jack Kirby-esque. The box, the little Kirby pieces here in the front loincloth. From what I thought of when I read online, I figured that they would somehow have a piece that would either slide in or out or clip on and off of the chest, so that you could have just one figure and one extra chest piece, so you could switch the faces on them and just be able to purchase the figures made for just one Build-A-Figure, and then the extra piece here to switch out the faces. And apparently that's not so, or it really didn't go to the way they planned. I don't know, but that's not the way it is, and unfortunately I hate to harp on that, but that's a big contention for me. But still, it's my favorite figure, and I do like the articulation on that. The head or box here does go pretty far forward and back, and it goes, of course, left and right. There's a little bit of side to side as well, so you can really get some, even though there's no face on it, you can get some expression through it, and that's always neat with figures. And there's some less articulation than a regular figure. His arms do go all the way around. They do go out and in. There's no bicep swivel. The arms do swivel and bend at the elbow, as well as at the wrist. Of course, having a big face in the middle of the torso, there's no ab crunch. There is waist swivel, but it does break up the sculpt of the figure pretty much. You can hide it with some of the belt and loincloth here, but that's alright. Not too big of a deal. The hips are pretty nice. They do tend to move sometimes at the same time for some reason. And now they're not doing it, but you can see there's slight movement on this side as I move the other. But nicely, that you don't really have to get all the way up in there just to move the hip articulation. He does have pretty solid thigh swivels here. That's because that's where they clip onto. And out of all the joints when building the figure, these were the hardest to really get on there. So they're not really coming off anytime soon. He does have double knee joints. They are kind of a little bit rubbery on the bottom here, and that's something that I don't like, but I don't see it really become a problem because he is a shorter, stockier figure, and there's not much weight put on them really to bend them out of shape too much. He does rotate at the boots here, so he does have the ankle joints here that go forward and back, as well as rotate slash pivot. So you are able to get some pretty cool wide stance with this figure. He's not a huge Build-A-Figure. As you can see, Spider-Man's almost taller than he is. I guess having a box for a head is a little bit, I guess they're about the same. But, Build-A-Figures don't all have to be really huge characters. And I'm actually glad that they decided to make some sort of smaller characters with the past couple of Build-A-Figures. It's nice to get huge ones, but this is a way where we can get some of the more obscure characters, and they're maybe not tall or huge characters, but it's a way for fans of those characters to get them, and maybe they couldn't carry their own single carded figure, and that's the only way to I think the only way we would have gotten an Arnim Zola figure was if he was a Build-A-Figure. And, So, oh, I forgot. He does come with an accessory. This little control rod, I guess they call it. Little controller. That he probably uses to, the Arnim Zola would use, but not the Red Skull in the Arnim Zola body. But Arnim Zola will use that to control all his biomechanical creations, like Doughboy or the Plasmoids, and many other things, monsters that the evil genius has created. But stay tuned. I'll have to see whether I want to spend the money to get the figures again, or just try and hunt down these separate pieces on eBay. So, I guess that'll be it, and until my next batch of reviews, I'll see ya.